Ladies and gentlemen, do not be alarmed. A cynical Brit has been allowed on the air with a microphone. You will listen, or the kitten we have hostage will be forced to fight a giant badger. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a Blue Please. Enjoy. Wow.
Radio.
Yes, indeed, folks. You're listening to Blue Please here on WoW Radio with Total Biscuit. Yeah, that was just kind of as far as my intro preparation got, but never mind. Right. First things first, big thank you to everyone that tuned in last week and everyone that downloaded the archive. Somewhat of a success, I would think. First Blue Please got about 20 listeners, second Blue Please got 107. Got about 500 downloads as well, so that's pretty cool. That's the sort of thing we want to see. Let's see if we can beat it this time. Get your friends, get your pets. Get your mother to tune in. Get your grandmother to tune in. I'm sure she'll be highly amused. Anyway. Right. Second part is an apology. Excuse me for a second. It's an apology for my blocked up nose, horrible sinus and somewhat nasal voice today. Yes, I will sound like the kind of announcement in a supermarket. So Total Biscuit will not be heading over to aisle 5 today to clean up the spillage of taco sauce. Total Biscuit shall be providing you with hopefully a 1 hour 59 minutes worth of talk, along with the usual features. Of course, coming up we have Rapping the Forums, because there's no excuse not to. We also have some exciting news about Rapping the Forums, which will be coming on a little bit later on. Another episode, brand new episode of Nubcake News, which will be this time linking in with a subject we're going to be dealing with later in the form of... Now, what were we actually going to be dealing with later? I can't really remember. Yes, casual versus hardcore gamers. Big issue of contention right now, one of the hot buttons this week. We have Ask the Murloc, and that needs no introduction. We also have a brand new episode of the week and loads of things to talk about, so we'd probably better get on with it. First thing is first. Now, I'm not usually one for sensationalism, or drama, or raging against the machine, as it were. The thing about raging against the machine in that sort of starting movement over something is usually you start a movement over something that doesn't really matter. Therefore, it's kind of pointless. And that's a bit silly. However, in this case, I've got to say yes, there was something screwy going on here. I refer, of course, to a guy that the WoW community knows as a Vio. Now, the Europeans wonder who Vio is, so I shall introduce him for you and those who don't know who Vio is. Vio, by most people's confession, is the voice of the hunter community in World of Warcraft. Level 60 Dwarf Hunter of the Laughing Skull realm. Guild, of course, is the Regulators. Now, hopefully, if you're listening to the mini, please, reading the forums, kind of paying attention to what's been going on in WoW over the past week or so, a bug has been discovered. And that bug is related to hunters. It's a cooldown bug, basically, where it adds the weapon speed to a cooldown on 3 specific hunter abilities. Now, this was discovered in the 1.5 testing. And I'm about to sneeze, so excuse me for 1 second. Oh, bloody hellfire. Not the time to get a cold, I'll tell you that. However, the show must go on. Anyway, back to the point at hand. A bug was discovered in the 1.5 testing, showing that apparently the weapon speed is being added to the cooldown of 3 specific hunter abilities. Now, obviously, this is what you could see as hunter nerf, indirect hunter nerf, obviously, in the form of a bug. And they pointed this bug out. Now, there was a big ruckus over this when a dev basically replied and said, "We know of this bug, we're not going to fix it until after 1.5. We're going to patch a bug that we know into the game." Now, I'm not going to cover this kind of particular issue in great detail, because I cover this on the mini police on Saturday, so there's no point beating a dead horse, but basically what happened was, people read this and thought, there, that's not good. And quite understandably. it's a bad precedent to set when you add a bug that you know of to a game. That's a bit silly. So, a guy called Vio was reading this thread, and he basically pointed out that the original post from Hortus said this: "To all of the feedback we have received, and thanks to Cadium, we will be working to resolve the Hunter cooldown bug this patch. Unfortunately, that means bad news for us here, as it leads to some extra overtime, and I haven't had much planned anyway. Thank you for all your patience in regards to this matter." And now here's the conspiracy. It was changed. It was ninja edited, as it were. And it now says, "To all the feedback we have received, thanks to Cadium, we are going to be working to resolve the Hunter cooldown bug. Unfortunately, that means bad news for us here, as it leads to some extra overtime, blah, blah, blah." Now, the difference, of course, is no patch. No patch. Now, before that, they mentioned, "Oh, we'll work on fixing it this patch. We'll put the overtime in and try and get it done." Because obviously, if there's a bug there, it needs to be sorted. However, this got ninja edited. Now, a guy called Vio came to the conclusion. He came to this conclusion. I'll read it out for you. You can scan the thread to see where people have quoted the original poster. "So our great acknowledgement has been quietly altered to remove any mention that this bug will be fixed for the coming patch. Conclusion: the cooldown bug will go live, and evidence to contrary promises has been eliminated." Now he asks this: why would they call off the fix after they made a big deal about hearing our concerns, thanking K and moaning about working overtime? I think because they found that they could not fix it as easily as expected, they've delayed it. Then he goes on to say that the problem may run so deep amongst the mishmash of sloppy coding and patches on our class, it'll have to be deferred to the general overhaul of Hunters, whatever the hell that happens. Right. Now, normally I wouldn't have a problem with someone posting this kind of thing. People are allowed to express their opinions, especially when they're paying for a service. They're not paying a lot for the service, but they're still paying. So, Blizzard do have some kind of obligation to listen to their community. And if they put the community forums up there, then people surely have the right to express their concerns and or opinions on specific issues. Now, when it comes to this specific issue, Vio got banned for posting this, basically. I'm reliably informed of this. Please point out if I'm wrong, because I would not want to start a little bit of drama here. But Vio got banned. Now, somewhere in this thread, if I can find it, I shall scroll down to see if I can find it. There was a reply by Cadium. Here we go. Now, Cadium basically says that Vio has done this, whatever this is, several times. As if it was a one-time instance, I'd be much more forgiving. But now you're jumping to conclusions and inciting others, the latter of which is in fact trolling. Okay, interesting conclusion there. Now, in my honest opinion, my honest unbiased opinion, I am not a member of the American WoW community or a member of the American WoW forums, so I don't know Cadium as a person, nor do I claim to. But in my opinion, in this incident, Cadium has gone way over the top. And the reason is simple. Downright trolling. Comparing this, which was effectively an investigative post, drawing conclusions from pretty substantial evidence. And let's face it, if customer relationship officers can't word their posts correctly, then where's the hope for the rest of us? Now, Cadium is comparing that to trolling. Trolling which, posting for no apparent constructive purpose in order to provoke a negative reaction. Now, I'd like you to show me how Vio's post was not constructive. Yes, he jumped to a conclusion, but he jumped to a conclusion via several very important and solid stepping stones. He got the evidence from that thread, from the horse's mouth, as it were. He posted it. He came to a conclusion. Now, I would like Cadium. She's obviously not going to reply. She's probably not even listening to the show. The point is, I would like Cadium to acknowledge that the WoW community is old enough to make up its own mind on a particular issue. Yes? They are old enough. They can look at the evidence provided there by Vio, and they're not going to follow Vio like sheep. Let's face it, everyone is not a retard. They are quite capable of making up their own minds. Now, the evidence has been presented. It's right there. You can read it. I shall post the thread for you in the general chat channel while radio right now. There it is. It's right there. Now, make of that what you will, but as far as I'm concerned, Cadium had no right to ban Vio. No right whatsoever. Now, responses from the chat channel on this. Firstly, I'll just deal with someone. What's his face? Let's see. Wild Radio 895 asks, why does he have a Geordie accent? It may be because I'm from Newcastle. I have been known to have a Geordie accent because I'm from Newcastle, but also it doesn't help that my nose is blocked. I've got a cold, a fucking headache, really bad back, all that bollocks. So, send me sympathy. However, Jaron comments on this, that people on the forums are retards. Yeah, let's not necessarily go there on the basis that we're talking the vocal minority here. The thing which gives people the impression that the WoW radio community is full of retards is the vocal minority that make it look that way. In reality, the majority of the WoW community are reasonably sensible people. We have a large age range here, and age, as we know, is not necessarily relevant. I read a post by a 40-year-old who whined about having... what was it? Yeah, having to pay £8 a month for the game. However, I've also read something by a 13-year-old, which was the most insightful suggestion ever. So, to be quite honest, I think most people are capable of drawing their own conclusions from such evidence. And such damage control by Cadium is totally unnecessary. The problem with Cadium's damage control is that Cadium is supposed to be community relations. Keeping up a good relationship, hopefully, with the community. You can't have a good relationship with the community if you take who is considered by very many as the figurehead of the hunters, figurehead of basically the hunter community, Vio. You cannot take Vio, call him a troll, and then turn him into a martyr by banning him. Bad call. Let's face it, if I was wanting to run a tyrannically evil games company, then the last thing I would do is take someone who is obviously intelligent, obviously a very calm, constructive poster, and turn them into a martyr. If I was going to do that, I would obviously try to discredit them, ruin their reputation, etc. As far as I'm concerned, if they want to do an evil dictator job, they should do it properly. And they're not. Jaron says this. I do agree that KO stepped up out to the past, though. Yeah. I think, to be honest, the general impression of our fantastically awesome channel over on wcradio.com/irc.php is that Cadium has overstepped the bounds. Now, to be quite honest, I do not expect Cadium to apologise. It's not going to happen. But, to be honest, they get a bit of respect that way. It's not giving in to apologise. It's not a show of weakness. This is a video game. It's not a tyrannical dictatorship. You don't have to act like it. Totally unreasonable. So, a whole incident blown out of proportion by a customer service rep, not a good idea. Bad call, in my opinion. So, start the show with a little bit of drama. And yes, I've got a cold, and that's why I sound ridiculous tonight. I must apologise, but that's the way it is. It's either that or no show at all. At least I seem to be reasonably lucid right now, but we'll see how that continues later on in the show. Anyway, time for a break. A musical break, and something generally epic to take you through your World of Warcraft experience tonight. You're listening to WoW Radio, you are listening to Blue Please with the somewhat ill, nasally blocked up Total Biscuit. This one goes out to Beleth. It's a request. Very popular band here on WoW Radio. This is Dragon Force, Black Winter Night. Enjoy.